It's 2025 and Terraria modding is bigger than ever, but if you're new to the game or you've never modded a game before, the idea sounds a little daunting. And so in today's video, I aim to show you how easy it is to mod Terraria and also give you all of the essential mods that I recommend checking out if it's your first time modding Terraria. Now to begin, you'll need to own a copy of Terraria on Steam, which I'll leave a link to down below. And once you own the game, simply head to the Tmodloader Steam page to download it completely for free. Once it's installed in your Steam library, you'll see regular Terraria, which you'll run if you want to play the vanilla version of the game, that's without mods, and then Tmodloader, which you'll run whenever you want to play Terraria with mods. And if it opens and runs, well done, you have successfully modded Terraria. So now let's start going through all of the essential mods that I recommend to pretty much everyone, and I'll explain what they all do. But before we continue, let me give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus. Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus is a fast-paced, turn-based mobile game that gives you all of the battlefield gameplay of the Warhammer 40,000 series, but right in the palm of your hand. You hear mobile game and you think it might be small, but this is 2025 and this game is jam-packed. You can assemble and lead over 80 legendary Warhammer 40,000 champions across 18 playable factions. You can fight against or strategize with other players. Or if you're more of a single player gamer like me, there's a full campaign mode that you can play through and it's a lot of fun. Now, my favorite aspect of this game, personally, is the fact it takes place on this like gridded chessboard, because you have to really think about where you want to move your champions to. Where you position them is everything. So you actually have to like use your brain. It's got a bit of a puzzle aspect to it, which is really cool. Download the game today by scanning my QR code or using the link in the description. And once it's all installed, if you use the code HelloFeb, you actually get 2,000 gold and 50 Blackstone. Thank you so much, Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus, for sponsoring today's video. Now, to find mods, all you have to do is click this workshop button right here. Find the mod that you're after, for example, Terra TCG, and then here there'll be a button to subscribe, and that's not like subliminal messaging, but if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, I would appreciate it. I'll unsubscribe just to show you. If I resubscribe, you'll see that the mod enters my downloads down here, and once it's downloaded, click on Workshop, Manage Mods, and you'll find your mods right here where you can enable and disable them. Now, the first mod I recommend to absolutely everyone is called Magic Storage, and if you've never played with it before, it will change the way you play Terraria. The concept is super simple. Instead of having a bunch of different chests that you need to organize, Magic Storage does all of that for you. By having a storage heart and these units surrounding it, you can dump all of your items in here, and then you have a long list with absolutely everything that you have stored away. You can search for items that you want. You can add extensions, which then do crafting like this. So you can put all of your different crafting stations in, and it will show you every single item you can craft with all of the items you have. And then if you need a recipe and you're wondering, can I make that yet? Maybe you can't, but it will tell you what you need and what you already have. There's also an NPC that comes with the mod, and their goal is to simply teach you how to use the mod. Next up, and this is one of my favorite mods, it's called Recipe Browser, and it adds a browser for recipes. By going into controls and setting your own keyboard bind for it, once you press that button, you open up the browser, and then you can search for absolutely anything, and it will show you all of the items that can be made with what you've searched. And then you can click on individual materials like this. It'll show you all the things you can make with iron ore, for example. What about Moonglow? Well, you can make all these things with Moonglow. Next up is Boss Checklist, which you also set a keybind for. And once you press it, it opens up a list with every single boss in the game, and also whatever bigger mod that you're playing. You can click on bosses individually and see how to spawn them. You'll also get a little tick if you've actually beaten that boss. It also comes with the boss log, which will give you even more information, like spawn information, your records with that boss, some of the loot that it drops. Have you actually been able to pick up that loot? Now, this next mod is a little subjective. You'll have to decide for yourself if you want to end up using it, but you tend to find after a number of hours you wind up using it, and it's called Ore Excavator. Another mod where you set your own keybind. I've always set this to mouse 1 because that's the button that I already mine with, and it just seems to fit. And essentially, it does this. It just makes mining really quick. Now, the way this works is based on your pickaxe power, so it's not like you can mine ores later in the game that you shouldn't be able to mine. It really does only work with ores that are already mineable. It just makes it quicker. Now, the next mod I want to recommend is the Alchemist NPC Lite mod, super specifically the Lite version, because it adds in these 3 different NPCs, this one included, and their job essentially is to sell you various materials that otherwise you'd have to go and farm for, and also potions. If you've played a lot of Terraria and you don't really want to gather all the ingredients, this is the mod for you. And it does work with other mods as well. So, for example, Calamity adds in a bunch of their own potions, and this will allow you to buy them without having to make them. Next up is Fargo's Mutant mod, which adds a lot of quality of life stuff, some of it a little subjective. To begin, this mod adds in 5 different NPCs that will pop up throughout your adventure, all themed around quality of life and all do different things. Like, for example, the Abomination, which is this one. They sell different event starters, so if you're desperate for rain or a windy day, you can just spawn one in. There's crazy items like this, which will build you an instant elevator. That's pretty powerful, right? But if you've played a lot of Terraria and you are desperate to save the time, it's a good one. There's mini bridges that you can add in like this if you don't want to take the time, or just build one like that, which is just absolutely massive and spans the whole world. Now, this next mod is one I get asked about all the time. If it ever makes an appearance in a video, people want to know what it's called, and it's called Lights and Shadows. I'll admit, it's kind of hard to show, but it aims to add in new light effects into the game. For example, if we take a look at the position of the sun and then this tree, you can see these really subtle shadows that are being cast with these light beams going over the leaves. There's a bunch of configuration you can do with this mod. You simply go to Mod Configurations, click on the mod, click on Client Config, and actually here I can show you how intense it can get. Look at that. Here, though, you have full control over how it looks. So if a part of it doesn't look right, try messing with the settings and just find something you like. Now, this next mod is called No Pylon Restrictions. And if you're a builder or you're playing on a world with a bunch of friends, I think you'll find this one really handy. Like the name implies, it removes all restrictions from pylons. So, for example, you can use them anywhere in the world. You can have as many as you want. It doesn't matter if your NPCs are alive or dead. If a boss is alive, you can still use them. I will say, in single player, pylons are pretty great as they are, but if you are playing on a big multiplayer server, I think this is so handy to have. Now, this next mod is very simple, but I would class it as a true essential, and it's called What Mod Is This From? And very simply, it adds a line of text to an item's description to tell you what mod it's from. I know, I said it was simple. If you didn't take my recommendation earlier in the video and you didn't get magic storage, here's another mod that can still help with organizing chests, and it's called Where's My Item? So you know how earlier I was saying, you know, you have like 20 different chests with all these different items inside? Well, this mod will tell you what chest an item is in. So you assign a hotkey, just like some of the other mods, and then you search the item and it'll show you where it is. Like, if I put this in this chest here, there it is. Now, this next recommendation isn't one you need for a regular playthrough, but it's really essential to have, and it's called the Heroes mod. Although there are alternatives that do similar things like Cheat Sheet and Dragon Lens, and essentially it adds in a bunch of different tools that are sort of like Journey Mode Plus or Creative Mode in Minecraft. You can do things like spawn in items, you can enable infinite reach, which is really handy for building, you can unlock the camera so you can just fly around, disable enemy spawns, get rid of all the items on the ground, change the time of day. There is so much you can do with this, and the reason why I always recommend it is because if anything goes wrong in a modded playthrough, maybe something breaks and an item you wanted is just deleted from the game, use this. use this, spawn it back in, continue the adventure. Now, this next mod is really handy when it comes to boss fights, especially in mods that add really crazy bosses that go off screen. It's called Boss Cursor, and it adds a little cursor around the player that just points in the direction of a boss. Now, the final essential mod is called Census, and it overhauls the housing menu. So if we open it up, you can see it shows you every single NPC that's available to gather, and it includes all the different mods that you're using, and it also tells you how you get the NPCs. This video is about essential mods, but if you're looking for a big content mod recommendation, I just suggest the Calamity Mod. It's by far the biggest Terraria content mod with nearly 7 million downloads, and it's honestly for a great reason. If you want me to make a video talking about some of the larger mods that I recommend, let me know, because I can always make a part 2 to this. That's it for today, though. Thank you all for watching, and be sure to check out today's sponsor, Warhammer 40,000 Tacticus, by scanning the QR code or using the link at the top of the description.